Hey everybody, it's Mr. Florida Flipper. We're out here in my garage and this is where the magic happens. So this is where most of my stuff that I sell on eBay, 99.9% of it is kept to sell. Big thing, if you're starting out, find a spot in your house or apartment or wherever you are to keep your stuff. So everything that you're thrifting or getting from online, different places that you're getting your stock to sell, make sure you have a dedicated space for it. It can be small like a closet. It just depends on how many things you want to have on your eBay store or how big of a space you have. So the best thing I had is this rack that's behind me that I'll show you all in a minute to keep all my stuff. I try to keep everything on this rack for the most part that I have. I have a little over 200 listings, so I have 200 items on this racking system in my garage. And that's how I keep all my stuff organized, and it keeps it out of the house so it's not a big thing for my wife and my kids. They don't want to, have a whole bunch of stuff laying everywhere. And also it's good to have it for organization purposes. You want to make sure that when you sell something, especially if you have more than a few things, you can find it. Even with my system that I have set up right now, it takes me a couple minutes sometimes to find things, not usually less than a couple minutes, because I do have it a little bit organized and I don't have the ton of items. But you want to make sure you have that organization in place from the very beginning. That way it makes it easier going down the line to keep track of your items and for you to be able to find them quickly when you sell things. Second thing for today that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about packaging. So packaging your items. So here is a list of some things that you want to get when you first start selling, or you should have even if you've been selling for a while. My first big purchase that I made was that bubble wrap over there in the corner. I got 2 things of bubble wrap. It was about 60 something dollars. I think it was $69 for those 2 big packs of bubble wrap. I went ahead and just got a lot. That way I don't have to worry about it for a while. It comes with 4 rolls. I think it was $32 per pack. So you got 4 rolls. I think it was 750 feet or yards of bubble wrap. You definitely want to have that for packaging items, keeping them safe. You want to make sure you overprotect your items. The USPS can be really rough on items. Just imagine people ship weights, they ship bowling balls, they can ship anything, 70-pound items, and all that gets on top of your little tiny glassware that you sold, crushed. So make sure you package well, sorry. Second thing that I purchased was tape, a bunch of tape. I don't have a Rollo printer. I don't have any label printer. I use just my home printer that I had. You don't need to go crazy when you're starting out investing in supplies and different things like that. Start off small. Like I said, I spent $60 on bubble wrap that it's going to last me for at least 6 months, I'd imagine. I think I've not even gone through the first roll and I've been doing this for about 2 months. So a roll a month, a roll every 2 months maybe. But you're gonna need tape. So if you have a printer at home, use that. You're gonna need tape to tape the labels down, tape up boxes. Sometimes the next thing that I recommend buying are these poly bags. So I have a whole bunch of different size poly bags. I think the biggest I have is a 14 by 19 poly bag to hold the big items, and all the way down to a 6 by 9. I would say the most common poly bag size that I use is a 7.5 by 10, which is like this one's about that. Or no, this one. So this is a 7.5 by 10, I believe. Or that might be a 9 by 12. But either way, 7.5 by 10 is my most common bag size that I use. That's the third thing you're gonna wanna buy, is poly bags. Pretty much 90% of the stuff I have on eBay are in poly bags. Unless it's super fragile, or it's obviously like a big box, something that's not gonna fit in a poly bag. Like I have some of these things. This is like a fragile thing. This is a Tuscany Classics glasses. So obviously they're in a box. They come in a box. It's brand new, never opened. Well, it's open, but brand new, never used. And then I put it in another box to help protect it because it's glass. But pretty much everything else, like I have a little phone case in here, all goes in poly bags. And so those are the 3 main things. So you want to get your poly bags, you want to get your tape, and you're going to want to get some bubble wrap. Everything else I have that I use to ship, so far I haven't really need to get boxes. I ask family members, hey, when Amazon comes, save me the box, save me the airbags. These air bags like this, tell them to save those for you. I don't really typically use those too much. Only if I'm shipping something that's fragile would I use those, because they take up a lot of room, and you want to try to keep as small of a box as you can for weight purposes and also to fit the item. You don't want your item rattling around in the box. But definitely make sure you get those 3 things. But save everything you can. Whenever I get Amazon stuff like this, I get these from Amazon, the little brown bags, or even the ones that are like the bubble mailers, those type of things, save them, because you can use those again. There's no shame in using reused boxes or bags or poly bags. It's helping the environment and it saves you money. So go ahead and do it. And let your family know. That's a big thing. A lot of YouTubers, eBay resellers will tell you, let friends and family know that you're an eBay reseller, because they'll be glad to give you shipping materials. And also, well, sometimes they'll give you items to sell. I've had some family members give me a couple things. Hey, sell this and I'll give you 50%. Sure, no problem. Do that for sure. That's a big key there. So those are some things that you're going to want to buy right off the bat. Also, last thing before I talk about this thing monstrosity behind me is ink. So I'm using my printer to print labels. So invest in some ink, some extra ink. I get my ink on eBay. I get used ink, that's expired, technically expired ink. I have some ink from 2017, works perfectly fine. Go that route. Don't buy brand new ink from Staples or Home Depot or Walmart. It's expensive. Actually, Staples is really good, because they do have, if you make an account, it's free, and you can set it up as a business account, whatever you want to do. And they offer discounts if you do a restock. So I do it with tape. I get my tape for $10 for a 6-pack of Scotch tape, heavy duty Scotch packaging tape. So that's really cheap. You can't find it any cheaper there. So Staples is good, but yeah, buy your stuff on eBay. Support the business that you're trying to, keep going. But this is my racking system. So up at the top are all my remotes, which I'll go over that in another video. Really good sellers. Look out for remotes. Second row is clothes, as you can see up there, and then just random stuff. Like I said, I don't have it super organized. I keep my box stuff that's fragile over here. Down here, I have just assorted. It's assorted. I don't have a system in place really for that, but I do have these 2 bins. So these are mostly filters in this bin here. And then in the second bin, I have my tech. So anything that's tech related. So like I have this Logitech speaker in here, calculator, got some ink, different things. That's tech. And then I keep my boxes down here at the bottom, and then I have regular garage stuff that you don't need to see down there. But this is all my eBay, all 200 and so, almost 250 items. I think I have 240 items are all out here and pre-packed. That's another thing I'm gonna talk about here in a second. Sorry, I had to go inside. It's pretty hot out in the garage, especially right now in Florida. We're heating up right now. But I was gonna tell you about my pre-pack. So I mentioned in the last video that I'm not 100% sure if pre-packing is good or not. I've heard some other eBay sellers out there that had mentioned that they pre-pack some of their items. In the beginning, I did it because it just made sense to me. I hope I'm gonna sell it. I think I'm gonna sell it. So why not package it now so I don't have to package it later? And it's worked out pretty well. You probably have to buy more poly bags than you would use, obviously, because you're going to pack pretty much everything that you're selling before you even sell it. But I have started to get away from that, so I haven't been packing everything into the poly bags before I sell it. So I've kind of been getting away from it. But I think it works fairly well. Most of the stuff I sell pretty quick once I list it. Like I said, I sell about 3 things a day, which I think is pretty good for having a little over 200 listings on my store. I do 6 a day. So I started at 5 for the first week or 2. 5 listings every day. I would list 5 things. So I didn't list everything all at once. Definitely don't do that. Draft bank. Use a draft bank, which means You're going to buy an item. You're gonna do everything like you normally would to list it, but then instead of listing, you're gonna save for later. And then so the next day you would list the 5 oldest things that you had in your draft bank. Start with one a day for a week. Do 1 a day for a week. Then the next week do 2 or 3. But I started off with 5 because I had a fair amount of stuff already that I had at my house that I could list. And then I'm up to 6 now. So I do 6 listings every day from my draft bank. I list 6 items. So it wasn't too hard to do it. And I would write on the poly bags what's in it. Obviously, you have to make sure you're going to write what's on there, give a good detailed description, make sure your handwriting's clear. I've had a couple times where I'm like, what did I write? I can't read this. So yeah, I had to open the bag and look at it and see what it was, and then just tape it back up. But always make sure you are checking when you sell something. Make sure it's the correct item that you're sending. We'll talk about that in another video. I'm going to do a video all about my mistakes that I've had since doing eBay. So we'll have a whole video about everything I've done wrong. So hopefully you don't do the same things I did. But yeah, so I do package most items in poly bags before they sell. It makes it easier for me. I have a full-time job. I have kids, I have a family, so I have to, a lot of responsibilities besides eBay and now doing this. So it just makes it a little bit quicker in the morning when I sell stuff overnight. That way I always try to get my items out that day or the next day that they sell. I give myself 1 business day handling. You do have the option in eBay, you can set up whatever handling time you want. I would say when you're starting out, give yourself 3 business days handling time. You can do that in the settings. You just set up the handling time, how many days you want to give yourself. To be a top rated seller, eBay does require you to have 1 day handling time, which I have no problem with. I'll go over shipping and everything in another video, but there's a lot of ways where you can take a lot of the burden and the stress of shipping off of your back. So we'll talk about that in another video. But yes, I give myself 1 business day handling, and that's why I pre-pack to make sure that in the morning I print out my labels, stick them on there, and then I'll take them to the post office, or if they fit, I'll put them in my mailbox, put the flag up. But that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Listing, I'll go ahead and put in the end of the video, I'll put some of the things I sold the last couple days. Last video I did the things I sold on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, so I'll put the things I've sold since then. So these are the items that I sold the last few days. So I have these Adidas Ultimate Tees, 2 of them, and I sold them for $10 each plus shipping. Here's some pictures of them. They're pretty nice. They're basically new. And then I sold this Tug 360 tangle-free retractable dog leash. Was brand new. Sold it for $10 plus shipping. The shirts were free. I got them from somebody. And then the leash, I bought that for $2.99. This hair straightener, Revlon ceramic flat iron, got that for $4.98. I got $9 plus shipping. And then this remote control, I paid $1.33 for and sold it for $9.50. This Lacoste shirt, not sure if I'm saying that right, but I had this shirt. I got a stain on it, so I didn't want to wear it anymore. So I went ahead and listed it. They were selling for like $15 if they didn't have the stain probably. I listed it for $5, but I took $3.75 on offer. But this is Mr. Florida Flipper, and I'll see you guys on the next one.